They say cab number 444 only appears after midnight, slinking through the city's rain-slicked streets like a shadow with wheels. It doesn't ping GPS. It doesn't show up in dispatch records. No driver remembers picking it up, and no one who enters it ever comes back. For most, it's just an urban legend, fodder for late-night Reddit threads and pub chatter. But for Juno Hart, it's personal. Her brother, Luke, vanished 2 years ago after texting one sentence, "Got a ride. Weird cab." He was never seen again. Now Juno, a rising true crime podcaster with a growing online following, is on the hunt. She reopens Luke's case not just as a reporter, but as family. Her newest series, Farewell, launches with interviews from victims' families, street camera footage of people entering cabs that don't exist, and a recurring detail that sends shivers up her spine, the flickering number 444 in every case. Juno doesn't believe in ghosts. She believes in answers. But the more she digs, the less the evidence adds up, and the stranger things get. A taxi dispatcher tells her of a silent cab that's been flagged on multiple nights, but the driver ID changes every time. Sometimes it's a woman, sometimes a man. One security guard describes picking up a dropped phone outside the courthouse, only to hear a voice whisper from it, "Still waiting." Another man recalls seeing frost form on the outside of the cab windows in midsummer. Every story is inconsistent. But they all end the same way: the rider disappears. Juno's investigation becomes an obsession. She pinpoints the last known sighting of Luke's phone near a commuter underpass. There, on her second night staking it out, she finds an old parking meter with a message etched into the rusted metal: "The fare is memory." She begins experiencing things. Dreams that bleed into waking life. A recurring image of Luke, soaked in rain, sitting in the back of a cab and mouthing her name. Her apartment lights flicker at exactly 12:44 a.m. every night. One night, she receives an envelope under her door. Inside, a Polaroid photo of cab number 444 parked in front of her building, with her standing beside it, eyes closed. She never remembers taking it. By the end of the episode, Juno's voice shakes as she records, "I thought I was hunting a story. I think the story found me." She ends with a warning. If you're ever alone after midnight, and you see a cab without headlights, keep walking. Juno had chased strange stories before: haunted hotels, vanishing hitchhikers, a house that moaned during storms, but this was different. Cab number 444 didn't just evade logic, it resisted it. The more she chased it, the more it felt like the taxi was chasing her. She began each day rewatching security footage, combing every midnight frame for signs of its passing. She cross-referenced disappearances with timestamps. Each case she reviewed added another layer of unease. People seen opening the back door of an unseen vehicle, passengers looking terrified before vanishing from camera view, and frost forming in real time on taxi glass during 30 degrees Celsius nights. She visited every cab depot in the city, asking drivers for stories. Most shrugged. Some laughed. But a few went pale. One man, an old cabbie named Malik, said he'd seen it twice. No driver. Just a mirror in the front seat. And if you see your face in it, that's it. You're gone. Another driver claimed a woman screamed and clawed at the back windows before vanishing mid-ride. He quit the next morning. Juno followed the trail to an alley where a missing college student had last pinged her phone. There she met Marla, a homeless woman blind since birth but known on the street as the listener. Marla whispered to Juno, "The cab isn't metal. It's memory. It's made from the thoughts people leave behind. And it comes for the lonely." At night, Juno's dreams twisted. She found herself trapped in the back seat of a cold, silent cab. Windows black. Radio static murmuring her brother's name. Fog crawled down the glass in claw-like streaks. When she woke, her breath was mist in the warm air. Driven by desperation, Juno tracked down the only known survivor, a man named Theo locked in a long-term psychiatric unit. He hadn't spoken since his escape from cab number 444 5 years ago. With the help of a nurse, Juno watched him scribble endlessly in a red marker, symbols, spirals, and a crude drawing of a taxi where the door is always open. When Juno showed him her Polaroid from the first episode, Theo screamed, grabbing her arm, and scratched one word into her palm with the marker. Below. The word burned in her skin all night. She started to see it everywhere, scratched into bus stop benches, etched into subway walls. That night, she received a voicemail on her unlisted number. Static, then her own voice. "You shouldn't have looked." The cab was closer now. And it knew her name. It happened just past 12:44 a.m. The exact time her apartment lights always flickered. Juno had just finished editing her next podcast episode, an expose on Theo's cryptic drawings, when her phone buzzed. No caller ID. She hesitated. Then answered. A voice, more static than sound, rasped, "You called for a ride." She dropped the phone. Outside, headlights flared in the alley across from her building. Not white, but blue. Cold, pulsing like veins. She grabbed her recorder, jacket, and pepper spray and bolted into the street. The cab sat there, idling, dark metal polished like obsidian, the number 444 barely visible on the license plate. Juno opened the door. Inside, the air dropped 20 degrees. A cracked leather bench. A rearview mirror too clean, reflecting only her. No driver in sight. Yet the cab pulled away as soon as she sat down. The windows fogged instantly, but not with outside air. They pulsed with images, flashes of memory, Luke in the backseat, crying. A girl screaming for her mother. A man mouthing help just before vanishing into static. The world outside was gone. Only fog. Endless, swirling fog. Juno tried her phone. Dead. Her recorder blinked red once, then shorted out. She yelled at the empty driver's seat. "Where are we going?" No answer. Only the hum of tires over nothing. Then the cab began to whisper. Not the radio. The car itself. The hum of the engine wove into words, like breath through broken teeth. All rides a round trip. But not all returns are remembered. Juno reached for the handle. It melted into the door. She was trapped. The mirror flickered. Her brother's face appeared, older, sunken, eyes hollow. He mouthed something. She leaned closer. "It keeps us," he said. The cab lurched. A jolt-like impact, but no crash. Suddenly, the backseat was filled with fog, shapes clawing, crying, pressing faces against the glass from the inside. Juno screamed. Then, silence. She woke on a bench at dawn, outside the same alley. Her clothes were soaked. Her hands were red ink. Blood. She opened her recorder. It was still running. Playback revealed a single whisper, "Below." In a pocket, she found 6 old receipts dated July 1978. Same name on each. Same cab number. Same fare, 0.00. Juno staggered to her feet, staring down the alley. She hadn't dreamed it. The cab was real. And it wanted her to keep driving the story. The city never really sleeps. But in the week after Juno's ride in the ghost cab, it felt like something deeper had awakened. Her episodes blew up online. Forums lit up. #Cab444 trended globally. But Juno wasn't celebrating. She hadn't slept in 3 nights. Her dreams had become darker, more precise, Luke's face, but not how she remembered him. His eyes were mirrors now. He never blinked. The receipts in her pocket weren't random. She traced the address, an old apartment above a closed diner in the industrial district. The tenant listed. Alan Gray. Died July 15, 1978. Hit by a cab. No known family. Unclaimed body. Passenger 0. At the city archives, Juno uncovered police reports, autopsy files, and one haunting detail: Alan had been a cabbie himself, fired weeks before his death. His final ride ended with a crash on an unlisted tunnel beneath the old rail yard. Officially, the tunnel was sealed. Unofficially, it was still there. Juno followed the old rail lines into the dark. She found a rusted door beneath layers of graffiti. The lock fell apart at her touch. Inside, stairs, dust, silence. Then, as she stepped into the tunnel, she saw it. The cab. Cab number 444 sat buried in vines and rut. But its lights still glowed faint blue. Ivy crept up its tires, but the engine rumbled. The air was thick, memories pressed against her skin like humidity. She approached the cab. Its review mirror flickered. Luke's face. "Don't do this," he whispered. She opened the journal she found in the institution. The red symbols matched graffiti along the walls. They weren't gibberish. They were coordinates. Each one a place where someone disappeared. Each one a toll. Behind the cab, she found it, Alan Gray's badge. Rusted. Frozen in a puddle of black water. Etched on the back in his own hand, "No one saw me. So now I make them see." Juno pressed record on her podcast MIC. "If you're hearing this, I found it. I'm standing beside the engine that runs on grief. A man died forgotten. And now he's driving memory into myth." She turned as the cab's door creaked open. Waiting for her. Just like it always had. Some rides, she thought, don't ask where you're going. They just take you there. Juno knew she wouldn't leave the tunnel. Not the same. Maybe not at all. The cab sat pulsing like a wounded heart in the dark, its engine humming without fuel, without logic. It wasn't metal, it was memory. And it had waited long enough. She opened her recorder and began her final episode. "I'm Juno Hart. If you're hearing this, I've made contact. This isn't a cab. It's a wound that never healed. And I'm going to stitch it shut." She climbed into the back seat. The door closed behind her. Inside, the cab was colder than before. The mirror reflected not her face, but those of the missing. Dozens. Hundreds. Luke's face hovered in the glass, mouth opening and closing like a looped message. Then, the driver appeared. His face was part man, part mirror. Cracks ran through his skull like a shattered windshield. Alan Gray. Or what remained. Juno spoke. "I'm here to end it. One fare. My life. Let them go." The cab engine roared. Outside, every streetlight in the city flickered. Radios in basements and pawn shops crackled to life. Every cabbie heard the same message on Channel 9. One last fare. Memory paid in full. As the cab burst into spectral blue flame, light exploded from the tunnel like a sunrise turned inside out. Across the city, the missing returned. Some stepped from buses they never boarded. Some woke in their old beds. Some staggered through doorways into emergency rooms. Confused. Older. But alive. And Juno was gone. Only her final message remained. It uploaded itself to every phone, every feed, every station. "If a black cab stops for you after midnight, don't get in. Tell someone. Turn around. And if you see your reflection blink before you do, run." The tunnel where she vanished was sealed with steel and salt. No one dared open it. But sometimes, near 12:44 a.m., late-night drivers say they hear her voice, bleeding through static. All rides are round-trip. But not all returns are remembered. The cab hasn't been seen since. But the city remembers. And it listens.